Is it time to say the Red Sox are in big trouble, and is there even a solution? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. The Boston Red Sox just wrapped up their first homestand of 2024, and honestly, this last series was another bunch of games that just felt unwatchable. It officially puts the Red Sox in a record for their first homestand of 3-7, their exact opposite record from their first road trip, and it puts them at 10-10, dead even on the year, which puts them alone solely in the basement of the AL East. But honestly, it's not by a whole lot. They're only 3.5 games back of first place. It's not like they're absolutely sinking. My question is, after watching this series and really after watching this homestand in general, are the Red Sox in trouble here, and is there even a solution? Because I don't know if there is one. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break this series down. We're going to talk about why I think this team could be in trouble, what it means. We're going to go over the highlights, the lowlights, everything about this series and its impact on 2024. But before we get into that, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Don't forget, we are also available on Spotify if you want to listen to these episodes on the go or not with the video or whatever you want to do. These episodes are now on Spotify, so click the link in the description down below to listen as well. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start by breaking down the offense. And we talk about troubles with the offense. Again, you look at what the solution is, and the solution is simply unattainable right now, and that is that this lineup just is not constructed the way it was supposed to be constructed going into 2024, and that's mainly due to injury. Trevor Story out for the entire season. We haven't seen Vaughn Grissom once. He was supposed to be a big part of this lineup. Tyler O'Neill, who missed a lot of time due to that collision, yesterday was just placed on the concussion protocol list. He's out for 7 days with a mild concussion. Rafael Devers hasn't really been healthy at all this year. When he has been playing, he's been battling through injury. Now he got an MRI on his knee. It's a bone bruise. Alex Cora is saying, yeah, he'll be fine. Devers is saying, well, I might need some time on the IL. We have no idea what's happening with Rafael Devers either. And you look at that and you say, that's 4 of your top 6 projected producers in this lineup. That is a massive hole. You can't really blame the people that are in this lineup right now on the day-to-day basis for being kind of bad, because that's what they were always projected to be. These guys weren't projected to be starters on this team, and they're thrown out there as starters. Guys like David Hamilton and Pablo Reyes, even Enmanuel Valdez, who we're going to talk about in a second, shouldn't be starting games for the Boston Red Sox, but due to injury, they have to, and that's a big problem for this team, and the main reason why we're seeing so much trouble over this homestand. However, there were some good performances. Mr. Connor Wong is hitting really well right now. He had 2 home runs in this one in back-to-back games. He only struck out twice in this entire series, which is huge for Connor. Right now, he kind of is sneakily one of the best, if not the best, hitting catchers in all of Major League Baseball right now. A 342 average, somehow a lower on-base percentage at 333, and a 605 slug, good for a 162 OPS plus. He's already a third of the way to his home run total from last year. Just a really impressive start to 2024 for Connor. Jarren Duran continues to be a bright spot for this team. He had 4 hits in this series, including 2 doubles and a triple. He's also striking out less than he was last year and walking more, which is a fantastic sign. I was honestly a bit nervous that we were going to see some regression from Jarren Duran because of how productive he was last year. He's absolutely not losing that production, and it's been a ton of fun to watch. Tristan Casas had kind of a slow series, but he did have a home run, a double in one game, and he's putting together some really good at-bats. Between him and Duran, they have played every single game so far this year. We really needed that from someone who's going to be productive in this lineup, so it's great that these guys are anchoring this lineup right now. And Manuel Valdez, who we just talked about, had a good game in this series. Overall, still really, really unproductive on the year at the plate, but he did have a home run and 2 singles in this series as a whole. The good news in all of this is that the Red Sox are still hitting the long ball. They are 3rd in baseball in home runs right now, but here's the problem with the offense. They also lead the baseball in strikeouts. They're not putting together enough competitive at-bats. And again, can you really blame them? Pablo Reyes, Bobby Dahlbeck, David Hamilton, and Manuel Valdez are all holding places for players who should be on this team. You put together a healthy Red Sox lineup, and I think it's a bit of a force. Look at what they're doing right now, right? They're still hitting a ton of home runs, and they're still producing for this team offensively. They put together 13 runs in this series as a whole without 4 of their top 6 producers, and that's not even including Masataka Yoshida, who just flat out is not hitting right now and really struggling at the plate. But losing 4 out of the 6 of those guys, the solution to this problem is just getting healthy. My question is, can they actually ever be fully healthy this season? Because it just feels like every game we're waiting for an injury report on somebody, and it's just none of it is any positive news. And that's my problem with the Boston Red Sox right now. The other major problem with the Red Sox right now has been the major problem since Trevor Story went down, and that's the defense. Right now, they have 20 errors on the season. That's on pace for 162 errors on the year. If they end up doing that and maybe even making more errors than that, they are easily putting themselves in the pantheon of worst defensive teams in the modern era, just flat out statistically. Right now, they have 26 unearned runs on the season. That's 31% of their total runs allowed by this team. That's absolutely asinine, right? That's a crazy amount of runs to be giving up that are completely unearned. You take away those 26 earned runs, the Red Sox are probably battling for second place right now. On top of that, it very easily leads the league. No one is as bad defensively right now for the Boston Red Sox. And again, you talk about what's the solution to this problem? Why are the Red Sox in trouble here? Well, it's flat out injury, right? The solution is, okay, move Ceddanne Rafaela to shortstop. He is an above average shortstop. He will be able to make the plays that these guys simply cannot do, specifically David Hamilton, and it really does mend a hole that is just gargantuan right now on this team defensively. But who's going to replace him in the outfield? Tyler O'Neill's on the 7-day IL. Masataka Yoshida, is that really going to be a major improvement defensively, moving Ceddanne out of the outfield and putting Masataka in there? I don't really think so. Rob Refsnyder's back, but he can't play every single day because he's still dealing with that fracture in his toe. He's essentially just managing the pain. He can't play every single day. There's really not a solution because it all comes back to this injury bug, and I don't think the defense is going to get much better until you get fully healthy. And again, we talked about it with the offense. Can they actually do that? The one part of this team that you just flat out cannot complain about right now is their starting pitcher. Cutter Crawford threw an absolute gem of a game to open this one up. He went 5 2/3 innings. He allowed just 2 hits, struck out 6, not a single earned run. Genuinely one of, if not the best starter in the entire sport right now, Cutter Crawford. You just have to tip your cap to what Cutter's doing on the mound. He is very easily emerging as a top of the rotation item for the Boston Red Sox. Honestly, Whitlock was looking pretty solid too on the mound, but he was only able to give you 4 innings, allowing 2 earned runs and striking out 1 before he was taken out of the game due to an oblique strain and is now on the 15-day IL. In all fairness to Whitlock, this feels more precautionary than anything. He was fighting trainers and management and front office people to not go onto the IL. It feels like this is one of those ones where, hey, we're going to sit you down for 2 weeks and you'll get right back in there. But either way, right now it's April 19th and the Red Sox are down to 3 starters in their rotation. We know from last year that's just simply not a recipe for success. Again, it's trouble with this team that there really isn't a solution for. Tanner Houck was absolutely incredible. This might be the best start we see from a Red Sox pitcher all year. All 9 innings pitched, the first complete game for the Red Sox since 2022, the first one at Fenway since 2017. He allowed just 3 hits, struck out 9, and did it all on less than 100 pitches. For the first time, a Red Sox player had done that in a very long time. Houck has clearly emerged early on here as an absolute force in the rotation, and there were a lot of questions as to whether or not Houck can even take that next step, if it's in his ability to be a starting pitcher, or if he's destined to be an elite multi-inning reliever. So far, early on this year, he has absolutely taken that next step and truly does feel like he is cementing himself in this rotation for years to come. They didn't didn't have a starter in this last game, obviously due to the Pivetta injury, but man, Bernardino was one hell of an opener. 2 innings, 2 Ks, no hits. Coming in after that was Criswell. Criswell was fine. You could put him out there, he can eat innings, but I think the Red Sox realized, and I think we all sort of realized, that he can't really be a starter on this team. In all fairness to Criswell, he gave up 4 runs, only 1 of them earned. Again, you go back to that defense, right? And it's okay, the starters have been really good, but at what point do you just sort of be like, yeah, the starters are great, but you can't field the baseball, so it doesn't really help all that much. Either way, he just doesn't get enough swing and miss to be out there for 5 or 6 innings at a time, and that's going to be a bit of an issue, especially with Pivetta still being down. He is throwing a bullpen this weekend, so he's getting closer to coming back, but because he was put onto the 15-day IL, retroactive to April 6th, we can't possibly see him until the 21st. We'll see. I would guess it's probably going to take a little bit more time than that, but now you got Whitlock and Pivetta on the IL, and that's really going to cause a problem for the Red Sox because the bullpen's already being kind of taxed as it is. And speaking of the bullpen, they were pretty shaky in this series outside of, I would say, Justin Slayton, who I don't think is a human being, and Chris Martin, who wasn't a human being until this season, but appears to be on the right track. You had guys like Kenley Jansen, who had been struggling all season. You knew was going to blow a game and did blow a game in this series. I feel like we were all just sort of like, finally, he messed up. It felt like he'd been walking a tightrope for a long time. Joely didn't look good. Joe Jakes didn't look good. He's back in Worcester, by the way. Cam Boozer, who we made a video on yesterday, is coming up for the Red Sox. He's making his major league debut. Good for him. But overall, I mean, Greg Weissert gave up a run. It was unearned because it was in the extra inning, so it was the ghost runner. He still looks pretty solid on the mound, to be honest with you. But you're looking at this bullpen, you're saying, okay, Josh Winkowski not performing too well. Joely Rodriguez not performing too well. We don't know what we're going to get out of Cam Boozer. Isaiah Campbell's on the IL, right? And all of a sudden, this bullpen that went from, yeah, this is sort of the rock of the team, goes to, okay, what are we going to do in the meantime until these guys either figure it out, we make moves, or these guys get healthy? Again, it's a problem with the Red Sox that there's just simply not a solution for. Overall, when you look at this series as a whole, and honestly the season as a whole, it's a bit of a miracle the Red Sox are still at a 500 record pace, mainly due to these problems that we talked about, all stemming from injuries on this team. And my issue with these injuries is that it's not just been 1 or 2 major injuries that the Red Sox need to figure out how to fill because they're going to be out for a while, which has happened for sure, Giolito and Story, but it's been a revolving door. It's been guys trying to come back from the IL, guys going on to the IL, guys having to take days off, guys not having to take days off, right? It's been just a merry-go-round of injured players on this team right now, and if that continues, yeah, it's absolutely a major problem for this team, and the Red Sox are in big trouble. But what I will say is there is a silver lining here, and that is that the Red Sox are at 500 despite all of these injuries. The raw talent on this team is very clearly here. You look at the starting pitching, you see the raw talent. You look at, honestly, the offense, you see the raw talent. You see what this offense could be if they're going to be healthy. If the Red Sox can stay afloat until you get O'Neill, Grissom, Devers back into this lineup at an everyday level, they could still surprise a lot of people. My issue with that, though, is can they do that? Can they get to a point where they are fully healthy enough where they are going to make an impact on this team on a regular basis? And that's a really big question to ask, but I still think, again, there's some promise with this team. I know people are going to say, that's absolutely absurd. There's no promise. This is a basement team. We knew this was a basement team. Look at where they are. They're never going to get out of it. And yeah, to some degree, I agree, but you can't argue with me here that the raw talent is on this team and that the big issue right now is injuries and a lack of depth. Once they get healthy again, if they can get healthy again, I think we see a much different Boston Red Sox, and I think honestly, we start winning a lot more games than we lose, and we could surprise a lot of people still. So am I hitting the panic button on this season? No. It's April. I just refuse to hit a panic button in April unless they're going like, if they were 3-17, yeah, probably going to hit the panic button, but they're 10-10. They're 3 games out of being legitimately competitive in this division. If they could just hold on for dear life with the guys that should not be starting ever for the Boston Red Sox until the guys that you need to be starting do end up coming back, I don't know. I'm still optimistic, and I know that sounds absolutely nuts. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think? I know I spent the entire video pooping all over this team, but I still think there's something here. What do you guys think? Do you think there's still something here? Do you think this is what we're going to be seeing the entire year, or do you think it's going to get even worse? Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox series in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, if you're new here, we talk Sox every day. Plus, you made it to the end here, you might as well hit that sub button. You also might as well hit that like button as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.